Another edition of Newspaper Review on Agate Radio and Television. Of course, it's a combined broadcast of Agate Radio 95.5 Star FM Makudi and Agate Television. My name is Fadan Kwan, welcoming you to this edition. And we are being joined by veteran journalist Teve Akasi. It's a pleasure to have you once again.
It's my pleasure too to be here again.
All right, you can listen to us on Agate Radio 95.5 megahertz in the frequency modulation band, or you can watch us on our social media handles, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and the handle is Agate Radio TV. That's one word, Agate Radio TV. But still, you can download our Android app in the Google Play Store, Agate Radio TV, and then you can also get us across the social media handles, like I earlier said. All right, so not wasting much time, we will start with the first newspaper this morning, and the first newspaper is The Punch. And then The Punch comes with this banner headline that is on almost all the papers this morning. Security agencies involved in minors arrest prosecution to face probe. And then it comes with the kicker, end bad governance. That's just the end bad governance protest. Security agencies involved in minors arrest prosecution to face probe. With a double rider, Tinubu direct release of young detainees, asks humanitarian ministry to take charge of their welfare, orders federal government to unfreeze his bank accounts. All right, just above the nameplate, okay, are some regional issues. Oni Olugbon Pali to unite Yoruba Obas. And then we have alleged diversion of 1.3 trillion naira. PC party of vampires. And then just some independent pictures there. Trump, Harris campaigns push for record vote turnout in background states. And then hope to secure victory in tight race. All right. So next to that, auxiliary appears in court amid tight security. Judge transfers case file to CJ for reassignment. NNF conducts airstrikes as Nigerian Air Force conducts airstrikes to support power restoration in Northwest, kill several terrorists. But then one, why should I call it an important story, flying across all the papers is the and bad governance. Security agencies involved in minors arrest prosecution to face probe as Tinubu directs release of young detainees, asks humanitarian ministry to take charge of their welfare. Chief Akasi, it seems to me the president wasn't aware of the prosecution entirely, based on these statements that we're reading here.
Kwanum, you know why I'm laughing is that we have more or less become a reactionary country. We have become a reactionary nation. Why do we wait until people cry out, until there is public outcry on government actions? These minors were picked up by security agencies and they are being prosecuted by the Office of the Inspector General of Police. That is the federal government. And here are we with Mr. President after Nigerians condemned, cried that why are you keeping these young ones hungry in detention and taking them to court? Some of them collapsed in court.
Yeah, what now, the police say it's scripted.
So, well, I have no evidence to agree or disagree with the police. They are investigators, so they should know what they are saying. But what I am commenting about basically is the reactionary part of that story. Why is Mr. President saying that he was not aware, like the former president used to say, I'm not aware? When did we get here? That the end bad governance protest happened as far back as August this year, as several months to this time. These people were arrested, the young people were arrested, detained for those months. And now that Nigerians, these people were taken to court and Nigerians began to condemn, people began to write on the social media, it was everywhere that this is wrong, this is wrong. Then the federal government has now issued an immediate release order that, look, you have to free them. And those who are responsible must be prosecuted. But that is where it ends. That's where it ends. If we are lucky enough, perhaps a few people, maybe police officers or other security personnel may be taken to court, you may not hear the end of that case. And that's what has been happening in this country. People are never held accountable. People are never held accountable. And then when you have this kind of situation, where is the corrective pattern? I mean, the corrective measure that the government should be applying? People get away with offenses. The wrong things are done, and they are never reprimanded. They are never punished. So it's really strange that I'm here. But when I saw that story that Mr. President has asked that the minors should be released and those who are responsible for their arrest be prosecuted, I laughed. I said, when is Nigeria going to begin to operate like a 21st century nation? We should be moving with the times, where of other countries where democracy has been entrenched in such a way that people are accountable for their actions. If you are wrong, you are punished. As they say, ignorance is no excuse for an offense. Okay, but the fact that you say you didn't know has no room in justice.
Yeah. All right, looking at the offenses, one of the paramount offenses that was charged against them was treason. You know, we saw on social media some young persons, we don't know if they are the ones, but they carried foreign flags. So don't you think the police would have been more interested in looking at those that sponsored the
Absolutely, and that is the paradox in all of this. You are accusing young people of committing treason, and just before they are tried, Mr. President has issued a release order that they should be freed, and those who are responsible for their arrest be prosecuted. So you can see the contradiction. Mr. President is not the court of law. Have we concluded that the children who were arrested and taken to court are now innocent? Have we concluded that they committed treason? So this is the paradox. This is the irony, if you will, of it all. Because accused our children of committing treasonable felony, and just before they are tried, the same you are saying they are innocent and they should be freed. So these things keep happening, and I think that in this era, Nigeria should begin to operate. Agencies of government should begin to look at what happens elsewhere in the world and do the right thing. You know that this person is not wrong, yet you picked him up, and before he's tried, you are asking that he be freed. So if the person goes back to court and says, look, you defamed me, because those children, their pictures are everywhere on the internet. They were on television. Now, that is stigma. That can cast stigma.
Absolutely.
On the lives of those children, because they were so. I mean.
All right, we just hope that those who are still in detention in, I think, Kano and Jigawa State are also, heed to the order of Mr. Okay, the federal government to unfree assets declaration conviction. Okay, this order is coming up from the president or from the appeal court, and then orders federal government to unfreeze his bank account. Here we go, asset declaration again. Yeah,
that is what it is said in law. The fact that someone is taken to court does not make him a guilty person. The former Chief Justice of the Federation was dragged to court, but here today the appeal court has said he's innocent. So until someone is proven guilty of an offense, he's innocent. So I congratulate the former CJN, and whatever happens after now, it's the law is still there. If he decides to take further action, or he decides to leave it at that, that is up to him.
All right, and that takes us to the next newspaper, which is the Daily Trust. And then a banner headline here says, detention. That's a kicker. Falana seeks compensation as Tinubu directs release of minors. We just discussed that there.
Yes.
All right, and then just above.
But of course, if I'm to chip in,
okay,
that's the similar thing to what I said. Now, Falana is seeking compensation, which, as I said, the minors can be entitled to that if they go back to court and they succeed in getting justice. I mean, you can't argue with that, because I analyzed how the whole thing has become like a drama of the absurd, if you ask me.
All right, so still talking about that, the Bauchi State Governor says the arrest of the minors is inhumane. All right, stop castigating leaders, allow God deal with them. This is coming from the Sultan of Sokoto. Okay, federal government revokes Abuja Kaduna highway contract. No going back on forex subsidy reforms, finance minister. All right, just below the independent picture on the Daily Trust newspaper comes Harris Trump in neck and neck as Americans elect new president today. And then in sports, Olympics, Ophelia awarded a $5,000 compensation. Officials face sanctions. And all right, so ex-Delta Governor Okowa in EFCC custody over diversion of 1.3 trillion naira. All right, Chief, let's start with no going back on forex subsidy reforms, according to Finance Minister.
Well, I read a story, which I think we are getting there. The president saying that Nigeria is recovering, the economy is recovering, a lot of efforts are being made. Well, the Minister of Finance and the Economy has the mandate to say what he's saying. Of course, as a Minister of the Economy, as a Minister of Finance, I don't expect him to come to the media or to any platform and criticize his government.
Of course,
he is the chief finance officer of this country. So I expect him to always beat the drum of the presidency, that of the federal government, that the economy is on the recovery lane, like his boss, the president, also said yesterday. But it is yet to be seen. Well, Nigerians, the whole of this, the economics of all of this is when the price of Gari in the market comes down, when a liter of petrol comes down, when a plate of food, for instance, you go to Urukum now, if you were eating a plate of food for 500 naira, you go to Urukum today, you are don't be surprised if the woman selling tells you a plate is 1,500 naira. That is how the whole thing trickles down to. When the economy improves, Nigerians will feel it in their homes. Now, those who don't have steady power supply, of course, the national grid has been collapsing up till now. So you can be sure that someone who is powering his house with generator is spending an average of 25,000, 30,000. If it's on diesel, you can't even go there. The price will be too high. But for some of us who are on the average level, I can tell you that because of the power breakdown, the public power source breakdown, I spent an average of 20,000, 25,000 a night to power my generator, to be able to charge my phone and power the fridge. Now, you can imagine families who may not be able to afford that. So this talk about the economy is recovering, people, the government is doing it much, is beautiful. I mean, those are rhetorics, those are wonderful talks. Of Nigerians are never short of rhetorics. I mean, the only people I think that can compete with Nigerians in terms of good talk are Americans. Because Americans are gifted in good talk. I mean, some of them even win elections on talking good. So we are good. We are gifted in speaking good. Now, all of those good talking will come down to what the average Nigerian is feeling in his home. When the woman goes to the market to buy vegetables and meat and all the other condiments to come and prepare soup, if she was spending 5,000 naira to prepare a pot of soup, you can be sure that now she's spending 15,000, if not 20. That is how it is. And there are no two ways until Nigerians begin to feel it that way. All these good talks about we are doing much. Mr. President said yesterday that when he came on board, he inherited the economy. Nigeria was spending 97% of revenue on servicing debt, Nigeria's debt. But today they have reduced that to 65%. You know, that is debt service to revenue. That's the jargon there. Now, all of those things will only begin to materialize when Nigerians feel the impact. As we speak, fuel is rising. As we speak, the naira is not appreciating. I saw this morning that it was 1,700 and something. The nairas were so many there, but today they said 1,700 and then they say it has appreciated. But when I saw just in Kobos, okay, the appreciation was minimal, was marginal. So until we begin to get it right, until Nigerians begin to feel the impact, then we cannot say we're making any progress.
All right. Amid this, the Sultan of Sokoto is said, stop castigating leaders, allow God to deal with them. Nigerians being called to prayer again. All right. So, okay, federal government revokes Abuja-Kaduna highway. We've already dealt with that. So that takes us to our next paper of the day, which is The Guardian. World leaders, nations anxious as U.S. decides Harris-Trump's fate. Tinubu tells ministers to be focused as Edun backs forex subsidy reforms. And of course, I think those were the newly, sworn
the new ministers. Well, like we said here the other time, the hiring and firing is not enough.
Okay.
Supervision is what makes a government. If you are a governor, for instance, and I expect presidents and governors to be interviewing their commissioners and ministers. Call them one-on-one and talk to them before you appoint them. You are the chief hiring officer. You are the person, you are the chief executive. If you want to hire somebody as a minister or as a commissioner, talk to this person one-on-one. You that teacher. I know if he has a capacity. If you don't have the know-how to interview and know the competence level of that person, then get someone to do it for you. Know that this person you are hiring is good enough. So this is a ceremony of people like I talked about here the other time. People being hired as ministers, hired as commissioners. Then after 1 year, you are dropping them. It has become like a ritual, like a ceremony, more or less. That Nigerians, if you are getting into government, people are waiting out there after 1 year, 2 years, that cabinet will be reshuffled and then new people will come in. We shouldn't just be hiring for hiring's sake. We should be appointing ministers and commissioners based on what they can do and not based on compensation or nepotism. It's competent people. They may even be in other political parties. But this is for the sake of the state. This is for the sake of the country. You can appoint them. If you love your country, you love your state. Look at what Minister Nyesom Wike is doing in Abuja. He is from PDP, but because he's known for performance. He's doing well, and Abuja people are happy. If you go to Abuja now, a lot of places that were not opened are being opened because Wike is a competent person, despite all the other issues around. I mean, I'm not going into that, but take it or leave it. Nyesom Wike is competent. So Mr. President got it right on that appointment. That's the kind of thing that I want to see. That people now, Mr. President is giving these new ones, these 7 new ministers, a new charge that you must make sure that you perform well. Nigerians are waiting to see you perform. So if they do not perform well, then after 6 months or 1 year, you still sack them and bring new ones. We are not moving forward with that. We are not, if you ask me.
All right, Chief. Put from one ministry to the other. You know, do you see any of them who you feel that the sack wasn't justified, or the movement from one ministry to the other wasn't justified?
No, we discussed this earlier, and I think that this whole issue of competence, I talked about people given appointments based on their capacities, their competent level. Now, when you hire somebody who perhaps is a lawyer to oversee the Ministry of Health or the Ministry of Water Resources, a lawyer, yes, he has the general knowledge about leadership, leading people. But if it comes to issues of terminologies in water resources, for instance, a lawyer will be a novice. Believe me or not, if he sits at the table with his directors, permanent secretaries, and so on in that ministry, and maybe they have a consultant who wants to come and or who has a memo, maybe would be a investor or a contractor that they want to hire to maybe provide water to some communities in Benue State, for instance. And the commissioner for water resources is a lawyer or is a banker. All right? He sits there. The person who is the contractor is a competent person in that area. He's speaking a lot of jargons, the grammar. The commissioner will look confused. He will have to depend on his lieutenants, his deputies, his permanent secretary and the directors to understand. And sometimes even the permanent secretaries are not posted in their ministries of competence. That shouldn't be. There should be people in the areas of competence. But well, so he will have to, the commissioner will have to depend on the knowledge of the directors, who in many cases are professionals, technocrats in that area. Now, but if you have someone who studied, who is a science-oriented person, and especially in maybe geography or areas that concern water and the environment, okay? And he sits there for communities in Benue State. Even the language that the contractors are speaking, this commissioner will understand. And if he's not comfortable with certain things in that memo, in that bid submitted by the contractor, he will tell them, Mr. Contractor, on his directors to explain the jargon there, because he understands it is his area of competence. So I am an advocate of competence in appointments. People shouldn't just be rewarded because they worked very hard for a governor or they worked very hard for a president to emerge. There are many Nigerians, there are many people in every part of this country who have competence. Go to any community, just one community in Benue State, for instance, and gather graduates. You will find graduates in almost every field. Every field. It's no magic.
Maybe we should tell the competent people.
It's a matter of we putting aside politics for a while, right? Okay. And looking at how we can get things right. It's difficult, I know. Okay. It's sometimes difficult to do that, but if we begin to push it a little, we will get there. Politicians can always be compensated in other ways, but not in terms of appointments in areas that are sensitive to provide services that have direct bearing on the people.
All right. Of course, there are critical sectors: agriculture, education, healthcare, and then economy, and a whole lot of that. But those other areas, don't you think we should encourage the competent people to also be going close to politics so that they are noticed? Because sometimes...
I see. I don't think everybody has to go into politics.
Okay.
To be recognized. If you are a governor or a president, you have stakeholders in every part of this country. For you to become president, that's why they talk about 25%. You have to win 25% in a particular size of the population, okay? You are not deemed to have won the presidency of Nigeria. This is because it is deemed, and don't forget, that if you are contesting for president or for the position of governor, you have agents in each polling unit. That means you know people in every polling unit of this country and of this state. So you cannot sit here and tell us that you do not know somebody to appoint in Ohimini who has a competence, or you do not know a competent person in Adikpo, I mean Kwande, or in Katsinala, or in Agatu. No, you should know. Even during your campaigns, you were interfacing with people. If you go to a campaign ground, people come. Even the religious people come. Even unions come. Labor unions, they all come around. Sometimes you meet with them privately before you go to the rally, because some of them will not go to the rally. They are not politicians. So you interface, you know people. Now, and you remember that you have campaign coordinators in every local government. You have. So it is not true that a governor or a president does not know who to appoint in a particular place. You know. If you want to be given the correct people, the competent people, even if they are in abroad, they can be asked to come and help. Even if they, for instance, let me give you an example.
Okay.
Just a moment.
Okay.
Governor Samuel Otom became governor in 2015. Okay. I was not working in Benue State then. I was in Port Harcourt. Then I was transferred to Enugu, and from Enugu to Abuja. But because Governor Otom knew that I had the competence to come and help him in the area of media relations as his chief press secretary, he called me and I came. So he didn't need me to be here. He asked me, and I was honored. It was a privilege for me, for a governor of the state to ask me to come and help him. So you have you as governor, you know. If you want to know Benue people who are competent in every aspect of this life, even if they are living in the UK, you will know them, you will get them. It's just that simple.
All right, we now take a break, and we're back to continue the newspaper review on our Gate Radio and Television. That go nowhere.
That's a very difficult question because I spent 14 years there. Nevertheless, I think my best 11 would include Samuel Adingingo, number 2, John Agu, number 3, Afioma Sylvester, number 4, Felix Pilakia, number 5, Samuel Elijah, number 6, Benedict Ogu, alias Rugede. Number 7, James Neto. Number 8, Tefak Bako. Number 9, Dominic Iofa. Number 10, my humble self. And number 11, Kolade Abejide. This is my best ever PCC first 11. I don't need to think about it. Shaibu Amadu is the all-time best coach of the club.
Welcome back. This is still newspaper review on Agate Radio and Television. And I remember you can join us on Agate Radio 95.5 megahertz in the frequency modulation band. And also you can join us on our social media handles: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, formerly Twitter, and the handle is Agate Radio TV. And then with me in the studio is a veteran journalist, Teve Akase. All right, Chief, before we took that break, we were looking at the Guardian newspaper, and then one headline we'll talk about, maybe two more from the Guardian before we proceed, is reps probe NNPCL as protesters lament fuel crisis. Is this a move in the right direction?
The drama is never ending. The drama, NNPCL, Dangote and other private investors who are coming in now, that drama is getting more and more interesting. And I just hope and I pray that this drama ends quicker and faster than they want to push it. Because in the end, Nigerians are the ones who are facing the challenges. So I pray that the drama in the oil sector, in the energy sector of this country, ends quicker. It ends now, or it ends like yesterday, because the pains that Nigerians are facing are excruciating. The pains are so deep. So, for the sake of this country, I want to beg NNPCL. I want to beg the federal government to end this issue, to end this problem, because it is energy that powers everything. The energy sector is the mainstay of the economy. So if there is crisis in the energy sector, then the economy collapses. So the hide and seek game, the cat and mouse game between NNPCL and Dangote, and the other was Dangote yesterday spoke 2 days ago that they issued a statement, and NNPCL came out to counter that statement, and that other company that Dangote accused that they are trying to build, they are building beside his refinery. They are saying that they will buy, the other marketers are saying they will buy products from abroad, they will import petroleum products at a cheaper rate. Now all of this is the fight that will do Nigeria no good, because fuel, the price of fuel is getting higher and higher. Now these big guys are fighting. They have no need for, some of them don't buy petrol. They do not. Some of, like people in NNPC, former NNPCL now, I don't think they spend money buying fuel. They do not. Now, the fight is unnecessary. But of course, I know that is for economic reasons. Because if they lose the battle to Dangote and the other ones,
resource control,
that is what it is. So, but I'm begging that in the interest of the unity of this country, and in the interest of the plight of Nigerians, looking at the plight of the people, they should just let go. Just let the fight go. Look at Nigerians and have pity on those who are suffering, those who cannot put food on their, and appeal to all the parties involved in this matter.
Well, if you ask me, these are the people that should be charged with treason in its original sense. All right, let's now fly abroad as world leaders, nations anxious as United States decides Harris-Trump's fate. Oh, what are your expectations?
Well, that's an interesting one. I have been following keenly the U.S. elections. I was fortunate to be part of the campaigns of the Obama election in 2012. I was in the U.S. then, and I can understand how intense, how emotional the U.S. elections can be. Donald Trump, former president, and Kamala Harris have been engaged in a war of words. Two of them hitting each other.
You mentioned that earlier.
Now, Kamala Harris has decided to play the victim in the last couple of days, assembling herself with celebrities and talking good and saying that she is for all Americans. While Donald Trump, Donald Trump pulls no punch. Donald Trump takes no. He's the one guy that goes he fights, and when he fights like a bull. Okay, he takes no prisoners of war, and he has been doing that even now. Just yesterday, he described Kamala Harris as someone with a low IQ. In the last, beginning with Trump and Hillary Clinton and Trump. Vice President, former Vice President Biden, who is now the president, and now Trump and Harris. And Harris. The elections have come with high emotions and a lot of bile. People, the candidates hitting each other, and I don't think that is very healthy for the American democratic system. I pray that the elections do not metamorphose into what we witnessed during the Hillary Clinton versus Trump. I think that was 2016. Yeah. So, but it's a tight race. It's really tight, and the battlegrounds are the ones that will decide. The swing states, of course, when the results begin to come in, we will see. But as it is, as we speak, it is difficult to call. It's really difficult to say this is the candidate that will win. To say that Trump will take it, it's difficult. To also say that that Kamala Harris will win is difficult. But as the day plays or as the day goes on, we will be monitoring what is happening. But at the moment, it's really, really difficult to call.
All right. We now move to the next newspaper, which is the News Direct. How Nigeria's debt service to revenue ratio dropped to 65% in 17 months. And this is coming from the president with a double rider, welcomes new ministers, urges collaboration in tackling challenges, describes previous debt ratio as end of the cliff, vows to Iraq. All right. Again, Atiku accuses Tinubu of economic mismanagement, claims 2023 election was criminally stolen, and that's closely related to the figures released by Mr. President there. Nigerian stage protest at NNPC Limited headquarters demand accountability on 6.4 trillion naira spent on refineries. Others. Well, this one takes a shot on end bad governance after public outcry. Tinubu orders release of detained minors. IPPIS, no directive issued for workers to change salary accounts. And this is coming from the office of the Attorney, OAGF, Accountant General, Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. Governor Mba performs groundbreaking of 300-bed Enugu International Hospital. Kudos to him. And then we have all right, Fitch report endorses Nigeria's macroeconomic outlook, projects increase in NPLs of commercial banks. So these are some of the headlines that we have up in the debt service revenue ratio.
Yeah, I said earlier that is yet to be seen. We hope to see that. But now, the irony of it is that it is the same APC. I'm not playing politics with this one. I'm just being sincere.
Yeah.
It is the same APC government. It's just a transition from Buhari to Tinubu. The same APC ideology that is still being in place. So if Mr. President is saying today that he inherited a near collapse economy, that the economy was at the cliff or on the cliff, that was nose diving already, was going to collapse in the next couple of months if he did not assume the captainship of this plane. So that sounds to me like an indictment, if you allow me, an indictment of the APC administration, because it was the same APC ideology that Buhari was leading. And Mr. President, who was then the leader of the party, had all it takes to call the federal government to order. He's an economist. So he saw all of this happening. Was he waiting that until he takes over as the president that he will redirect the ship or pilot the aircraft to safety. Okay, because if you say that Nigeria was spending 97% of its revenue, I mean, of its revenue to service debt, and now after 17 months you have been able to achieve 32% drop. That means you are now using 65% to service debt. Beautiful, and commendable. But does it mean that the people who are in charge now did not have the accessibility of the then leaders, Mr. President Buhari and his team, for them to advise that this is what you would do, this is what you would do for the ship of governance to safely, divert away from the iceberg? Why wait until now? Because it is the same political party. So, but good enough that is happening now. So, but as I said, we wait to see how that translates into tangible products, into the realities of the economy in the palms of Nigerians, of the common man. That's when we will begin to feel the impact, the positive impact of the good things that Mr. President and his team are doing.
All right, so the second writer mentioned certain things that I'd like us to touch on. Mr. President is vowing to eradicate scavenging and smuggling. So that's to say that according to him, these are some of the issues, that are militating against the growth of the economy.
Well, but again, I have been speaking about the insincerity of sabotaging the economy. The sacked Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Betta Edu, was accused of corruption. All right. Now she was relieved, was first suspended, and a new minister has been appointed. That means she has been sacked. But what have we heard about prosecution? Nothing. So it was like a parting gift. It was like, okay, you worked very hard for I think she was a woman leader of APC. Am I correct? I think Edu was a woman leader of APC. Okay, so perhaps she coordinated the women of this country to vote for Mr. President. And now that the APC won, she was handsomely or beautifully rewarded with the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, which is one of the ministries with big money, so much money, because a lot of things are happening in Nigeria, flooding, attacks on people, a lot of IDP camps. So that ministry takes some of the biggest allocations to donate and so on, and all that Mr. President's parting gift. So I don't think we should be doing that. When people are found to have sabotaged, yes, even when you go to the airport, Nigerians are found to be unfortunately, Nigerians are said to be the ones on the top list of countries whose immigration officials or officers demand bribe before they clear people, especially tourists. Foreign magazines, they write heavily about these things, indicting our agencies, indicting our immigration, indicting our agencies in the waterways of collecting bribes before they clear goods to come into the shores of Nigeria, of collecting bribes from tourists who land at the airport or who are seeking visas. These things are wrong, and that is why I'm saying that if people are found culpable, if people are caught, that are suspected, they should be tried, and if they are found guilty, they should be sent to jail. When you do that, then you begin to have sanity in the polity. Okay, that's the only way this can begin to get it right. If immigration officers look at what the issue of herdsmen, the issue of herdsmen, our immigration services are supposed to checkmate herdsmen coming from Mali, from Senegal, from Nigeria and all those other countries. Now, how do the herdsmen pass? Do they fly? Or do they pass on water with the cows? No, they come by land and they pass on our roads. And there are checkpoints on those roads. So what happens? So I think that smugglers are in the same field. they bribe their way and bring goods into this country. And if the officers who are clearing them are caught, they should be tried. And if found guilty, they should be sent to jail.
All right, let's take a brief tour to politics. And this, again, Atiku accuses Tinubu of economic mismanagement, claims 2023 election was criminally stolen. Chief, don't you think Alhaji Atiku Abubakar should let this go for now?
Well, I don't want to speak much about Atiku Abubakar now because my view may be subjective.
Okay.
Having been associated with a political leader who is seemingly not in the same camp with Atiku. So, but if I may have, my view as to take a rest a bit, to pause and reassess himself. You have bidded for the leadership of this country since to elect you as president. You have tried more than any other person. Nigerians don't want to give you a look in. So why don't you let it go? Now PDP, some sections of the PDP are saying if Atiku tries to vie, if he vies for the seat again, they will leave the party. Because the South has the ticket now. So the next 4 years too should come from the South. And the PDP should also do same. So he advising Mr. President now, I think his blueprint, he should give his blueprint to Mr. President. If he loves Nigeria, he should donate it. Donate your views to the president, because Atiku has investments in Nigeria too. He does. If you go to the oil-free zone in Rivers State, you will find many companies there owned by Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Of course, he is one of the. For me, I have a lot of respect for him for investing heavily in this country and him to be president. I have to go philosophical here, religious here, because God gives power and he does it through people. So if Nigerians have refused to vote Atiku since 2003, I think it's time for him to call Mr. President, say, Oga President Tinubu, come. He can even do a ceremony in his house, and the president will honor it. Take this blueprint. I am living my aspiration of ever contesting for the presidency of this country again. Maybe Nigerians don't want me. Yeah. So take this document, my blueprint, and use part of it that you find good, and develop this country. I am doing this for posterity, so that history will judge me as one Nigerian who vied for the leadership of this country.
Very much, Chief Tevera Akasu, veteran journalist, for your timely.
I don't like this word, veteran. Veteran. You know what? Somebody told me that veteran, when you are called veteran, it means you don't have money. I don't have money now, but I want to have money.
You hope to have money.
I'm aspiring. I want to. If God gives me, I'll be happy.
All right. Thank you very much, seasoned journalist.
That sounds a bit better.
All right. Join us again next week, Tuesday, for another edition of Newspaper Headlines Review. I'm Fanan Kwano. Thank you.